Today's theme is Someone Else Must Die for You. This is our series on Eve, part 6, from Genesis chapter 3, verse 21. Also for Adam and his wife, the Lord God made tunics of skin and clothed them. If you recall how Adam and Eve sinned and the whole world changed because of that sin. Now the word sin really means rebellion against God and against His rules. When you break God's rules, there's an automatic separation from God. God cannot fellowship with men and women who have sin. God's eyes are so pure, He cannot even look at any of their evil. So there is a separation. Now, I explained in the last 3 lessons how God had cursed the serpent and the woman and the man. All 3 were cursed, and they understood that pronouncement. But now, did that mean God had no more responsibility with them? No, God wanted to have the fellowship with them reestablished. Now, these tunics really were made of skin, and God gave each one of them those tunics. But where did those clothes come from? Could it be from a tree, that God could make skin from a tree? That's not possible. Maybe Adam and Eve would try to cover themselves up. Well, we know they used fig leaves. That's what they used to try to cover themselves. And when God saw their experiment, God says, well, good try, but that is not my plan. So God had to kill something else. Would He kill another person? No, there's only 2 people in the world. So evidently God had to kill an animal. Now we don't know what kind of animal that was. Could it have been a bull, a cow, a goat, or a lamb? We don't know, but it's one of those. So God had to kill to get the skins. Now, can you imagine if God just took the skins and left the animal alive? No, that doesn't make sense. So yes, God killed the animal and then took their skins. Now, had that animal done anything wrong? No, that was a very innocent animal, had nothing to do with their sins. But God killed the animal, took the skins, and made those tunics and gave them to Adam and Eve. Now, who's the one that decided to give them to Adam and Eve? That was God's design. He planned it all. That was His way to forgive their sins. With that fellowship broken, He planned this way to restore it because He wanted that fellowship with them again. Do you recall how He told Adam, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil? And he did. He said, the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. Now, did you understand that? Adam and Eve had to leave the garden. They received the punishment. But now the punishment was put on that animal. And through faith, as Adam and Eve accept the clothes that God gave them from the animal, through faith, Adam and Eve could be restored. But what if they chose to just keep the fig leaves they had? They could have made that decision, but in faith, they chose to accept the gift that God gave from that animal. They knew it was God's design. Do you see the gospel in that beautiful portrayal? Now, I'm going to explain a little bit more. Some of that is expanded in the Old Testament and even more in the New Testament. But who was the innocent person that died once and for all? That was Jesus Christ. He was the perfect man. He was totally innocent, had never sinned at all. But God had caused Jesus, His own Son, to become sin for us so that we could be made righteous through Him. So when God looks at me as an enemy, Now, since I received Christ through faith, I now have a relationship with God, and that is wonderful. If you don't have a relationship with Christ, I encourage you to get that now. Accept Christ. Believe that he died, rose again, and you can be saved and have a relationship with God. But you have to accept it. It's the same idea with Adam and Eve. He had to accept, and she had to accept God's gift to them. If you have not accepted God's plan for you to be saved through Jesus Christ, I encourage you to believe on him and accept that gift, and God can give you that salvation. Get your relationship with God now. If you're already saved, please tell someone else about it. We'll see you tomorrow.